Episode 169. I believe achieving success in the outdoor biz is dependent upon embracing the outdoor lifestyle and learning from outdoor leaders that came before you. If you agree, then listen up for tips, advice, and hacks about growing or starting your career in the outdoor biz. My name is Rick Sayes. Welcome to the Outdoor Biz Podcast. Adam Donahue, Business Director over at Dometic and I, had a great conversation about Dometic's business and how overlanding, or vehicle-supported adventure, is growing and offering unique retail opportunities for outdoor retailers. But first, if you're thinking about starting your own podcast for your brand or passion project, I've created a free cheat sheet outlining 10 fundamental steps to create and launch your podcast. It has everything you need to know about planning, creating, and launching. Head over to ricksayes.com and download this free resource today. Hey, Adam, welcome to the show.
Great to be here.
Yeah, good to catch up with you. Sorry I missed you at OR. I'm sure you were busier than a one-arm paper hanger, as they say.
It was a great show. Lots of energy and good traffic.
Yeah, right on. Now, we were just talking. You said that was your 14th or 15th outdoor retailer.
Yeah, including winter markets. So through the series of Salt Lake Cities and now over to Denver. But it's been a great transition, and I feel like the show has just got a ton of energy and really good momentum for the industry.
Yeah, I agree. I think this show is the first. We're finally hitting our stride in Denver, so that's pretty cool. What was your first exposure to the outdoors? How'd you get into the outdoor life?
I think for me it was I graduated school and was just sort of an avid outdoor enthusiast and grew up sailing. And was fortunate enough to get a job working in the marketing department of a small roof rack and truck rack company called Track Rack. And that company was acquired by Thule, which led me into a path of sort of the core or hardcore outdoor, and quickly find my way into cycling and surfing and mountain biking. And I really dove sort of head first into the outdoor industry in a more significant way.
Yeah, right on.
There wasn't a sport that I wouldn't sort of try at least once, or became sort of obsessed with and filled my garage up with gear.
and empty your wallet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that was the best part about being in the industry is rodeos.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Where'd you go to school?
I went to Boston College.
Okay. What'd you study?
I studied marketing and communications.
Oh, so you're
minor in philosophy.
Oh, really? Wow, that's interesting. What drove that?
I feel like for me it was an interest in understanding sort of how people thought, and then how they communicated that intention. I think it serves me well in both the sales and marketing roles that I've had throughout my career.
It definitely does. Yeah, I would echo that. What was your first outdoor related job? Was it Track Rack, or did you have a?
So it was Track Rack, and then really I would say Track Rack, we had an interesting sort of crossover into contractors who would also be sort of outdoor recreation enthusiasts on the weekends. And we actually sold products into the Los Angeles County the lifeguards would have all the products.
Yeah.
So there was a nice crossover into surf, which was sort of my first segue into that. And then really the sort of pouring gas on the fires when that company was acquired by Thule, and that was sort of opened my eyes to the broader outdoor industry in general.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Have you moved around? It sounded like you spent some time in the West, Southern California.
Yeah, so I actually I grew up in Rhode Island, a little small state on the water, and spent a lot of my time growing up on the water. And then after college, I was fortunate enough to get a job as a bosun on a 65-foot maxi, and spent the summer in the Mediterranean.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so I was living in Mallorca and in the city of Palma, and I spent some time in Valencia in Spain for the America's Cup, and then moved back actually and went to San Francisco, and was living in San Francisco managing the sales for Track Rack for the West Coast.
And how did you get involved with Dometic?
So Dometic, I actually had some great connections through Thule. The chief marketing officer, Peter Shellberg, left Thule and went to Dometic, and we had stayed in touch over sort of my career. And there was an opportunity that came up to help Dometic create an outdoor division. And so Peter reached out to me, and we felt like it was sort of a perfect match given my history in the outdoor industry.
Yeah.
And where Dometic is sort of shifting with our focus on mobile cooling. And so it was a great opportunity, and joined there just over 2 years ago.
Oh, wow, cool. Now, you guys make some cool products. Tell folks that might not know about that, because you're relatively new to the outdoor space. Tell folks about what you guys do.
Yeah, so it was funny when I joined Dometic, I had no idea who the company was or the fact that there was such a thing as a 12-volt compressor-based cooler. Yeti had really sort of created the space of the high-end premium passive coolers.
Right.
But Dometic, so we are a Swedish outdoor company. We specialize in making products for the RV and marine industry. So any content that you have in your house, we make that for the mobile lifestyle. So everything from air conditioning to refrigerators, sinks, stoves, cooktops, ovens, sanitation products, windows, blinds, any of that content that goes into sort of that mobile living. We make that product. And then on the marine side, we make water makers and water filtration systems and high-end chiller systems, or everything from a 20-foot center console all the way up to a 100-meter mega yacht.
Wow, interesting.
And then the coolers, we make these incredible full-volt compressor-based coolers that plug into your house or your car, and they go down to -7 degrees, and you never need ice ever again.
Yeah, I think I was with Andy and Lori Palmer from the Adventure Portal a couple years ago up in the White Mountains here, and they were camping, and they had one of those. I think you guys had just come out with that, and they had it in one of their Jeeps. Is that right?
Awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty
absolutely.
Cool. Yeah, pretty cool. So, what do you do for those guys? What's your role there at Dometic?
So I manage the mobile cooling business unit for the Americas, and it's a sort of a newly created division when I joined 2 years ago, and we're an entirely dispersed team. And really, the genesis for that, the headquarters for the Americas is actually in Elkhart, Indiana, which is the RV capital of the world. Well, really the world,
really?
But, certainly the U.S. Yeah, it's
incredible.
Not
know that.
You fly into Chicago, drive 2 hours east, and all of a sudden you are an RV mecca.
So is it just acres and acres of RVs, trailers, and
it's incredible. Yeah, you drive
Wow.
through 2 hours of cornfields, and then all of a sudden, every RV you could possibly imagine appears on either side of I-80.
Huh, that'd be cool. I have to go check that out.
It's a very cool place.
Are they manufactured there, or just is that where they store them before they ship them off
Yeah,
to dealers?
there's a lot of manufacturing. Dometic, actually, we have 3 factories in Elkhart, and we supply products to all the major RVOEs as well as to the aftermarket.
So this whole van life thing must be exploding your business.
Yeah, van life has been a really incredible, I'll call it maybe a little bit of a phenomenon right now. I mean, I think it's certainly an elevated way of being, having that sort of ability to just wanderlust wherever you want to go and be doing so in a little bit more comfort, a little bit more style,
right?
And having some of those creature comforts of a portable hotel room, as opposed to a pulled tent on the ground.
Yeah, and an ice chest, and you have to get ice every night.
Exactly.
So, what do you enjoy most about your work?
For me, I'd say that there's we've sort of hit this unique market opportunity right now where we've got an incredible product assortment. There's a growing appetite for it in the industry, and we're really riding this sort of precipice of providing this mobile lifestyle for a growing population that is interested in getting disconnected from their phones, from the internet, from work, and we provide a great set of products that allows them to do that really easily. And so for me, I think the most exciting part is you see the expression on our customers' faces when they go, okay, I never have to buy ice ever again. I can bring steaks with me on my camping trip.
Right.
I can bring my kids' baby food. I can bring vegetables. I can bring all the things that allow me to eat healthy and do that in a really sort of quick and spontaneous way where you can grab the food out of your refrigerator, throw it in your cooler.
That's huge.
And go.
Yeah.
And when you see that, expression on someone's face and they go, oh my gosh, these are the things I can do.
Yeah.
And I can just
that's a game changer,
farm out of my house on Friday afternoon.
Yeah, that's a game changer.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. What would have been a couple of the toughest challenges?
I think for us, the biggest challenge has really been growing the awareness of this product category. I mean, I mentioned to you when I started, I didn't know who Dometic was or that this product category existed. And so, Americans, we've got a 7-Eleven or a Cumberland Farms on every single corner, and ice is readily available.
Yeah.
And so it's more of just educating consumers on that elevated experience and figuring out how to do that in a cost-effective way that, tells our story. And once people get it, that light bulb goes off, and it's an incredible sort of realization to see. But
Mhm.
that's a challenging thing of getting to consumers who, you know, have bought ice forever,
I was gonna
and
say,
the
yeah,
identity of a red tubbed white lid Coleman cooler is
right.
like, that's iconic, right?
Yeah, yeah. You have years of buying ice and putting it in the pop chest to overcome.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
interesting. So, what are some of the things you guys are doing to tackle that? I mean, do you have any unique marketing campaigns, or
Yeah,
you
so
on the
we
road a
we've been
lot? I bet.
really fortunate in that we've been working with a lot of social media influencers who are living full time on the road,
Hmm.
and our main marketing strategy is really figuring out how to tell their story. It's really about us getting out of the way, I
Mm-hmm.
think, more
Mm-hmm.
than anything, and just finding ways of allowing them to tell their stories. Because when people understand the benefits of the products, that's the sales pitch,
Right.
and you don't need to do much more than that. And so at Outdoor Retailer, we were actually really fortunate to have Kelly, Allie, and their dogs Loki and Bailey with their Forerunner in our booth, and that was really a sort of a manifestation for the outdoor retailer community to see our marketing campaigns and to see real life people who are, spending 3 to 4 weekends a month out on the road with two very large dogs who have unique dietary needs,
Right.
and being able to do that, quickly and easily. So that was a very sort of cool activation of, our broader marketing campaign that we were doing at Outdoor Retailer.
So, you guys, do they do events, or they just are on the road camping and Instagram? And do you go to retailers and do an event like a showcase in the parking lot with a cool rig and?
Yeah, we actually have two decked out Forerunners and
Mm,
a Jeep Wrangler,
okay.
and our tech reps are out doing event activations at all of our local retailers, and they come and they set up and hand out ice cream to customers walking in, because that's sort of that aha moment when you get a rock
Exactly.
hard piece of ice cream out of a cooler. People are like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, that's cool. Was Outdoor Retailer your first OR show? This last one?
No, so Dometic has been exhibiting there in one way or another for 3 years,
Oh, okay.
and I think for us it was really, we put our toe in the water. And 2 years ago we jumped sort of all in.
Mm-hmm.
We got a bigger booth. We had all of our product on display. And then, as I mentioned, sort of our history as an OE manufacturing company. Dometic is really going through sort of a renaissance right now, or
Mm-hmm.
a self-actualization of seeing we can actually talk more directly to the end consumers and
Yeah.
convey the benefits of how living this sort of mobile lifestyle can be easy and really comfortable.
Right. Right. Yeah. It's such a huge solve because ice is always a problem, right? I mean, it's you either run out or you can't find enough, or and just not having to deal with ice other than for your cocktails is huge.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
The visual I like best is you pick up a piece of sandwich out of the bottom of your cooler and you sort of shake it, and the bits of white bread fall
Yeah,
all
yeah.
over
You're
the
wringing
place,
out
right?
before you eat it.
That soggy sandwich is really, that is like sort of the linchpin,
Yeah,
and everybody knows that when you put something in, either you're putting it in giant containers or you're sealing it up 3 times so that things don't get
exactly.
wet, and
Yeah,
then ultimately they do, and then you got to clean the thing out when you're at home in the garage, and that's disgusting. Or you forget, and you've got some sort of green
yeah,
fungus at the bottom of the thing that
exactly.
you
All
have to
been there.
bleach out of the bottom.
Yeah, we've all been there. So, where are your sales in the outdoor space? Are you reaching out to retailers, or is it some of these van life conversion places? What's that look like?
Yeah, so we've really been growing sort of our retail base over the last 2 years, and working with specialty outdoor shops,
Mm-hmm.
van conversion places that are doing vans as well as teardrop trailers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we were fortunate to launch with REI, and so we've
Great.
had a really great presence with them. They were selling our full assortment online, and we've got several key SKUs in local stores, and
Mm-hmm.
we've seen just a really great response from REI's customer base, which I think for us is interesting because they are a hybrid in between sort of that core overlander and your general outdoor enthusiast,
Yep.
hiker, mountain biker, cyclist.
Yep.
And I think um, the issues and the problems that we solve with our products have resonated for them.
Yeah, and I think the outdoor consumer is shifting too. I think it's a blend of, the young, like you were talking about your ambassadors. Those are young folks that are still getting out and getting after it, and doing a bunch of great, adventures in the backcountry and front country, climbing and whatnot. And then there's this other consumer, guys like me, who have done that back in the ice chest days, and now we're still getting out, but it's more of a car camping experience. We still go out and go for a hike, or maybe even do a little rock climb or ski, but at the end of the day, we're back in the car, tent camping, or sleeping in the nice van if we have it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a blend, and REI caters to both of those folks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what's interesting is that as the American outdoor population ages a little bit from sort of this baby boom generation, people still want to get outdoors.
Yeah.
They just want to get a little bit closer to the outdoor experience, right? So
Yeah.
you want to get closer to that trailhead instead of doing a full through hike. You may
Yep.
go halfway up the mountain and do the summit.
Right.
And then I think for younger people, really, it's just an issue of time,
Mm-hmm.
right? We're so constrained by work and life and family and all of these different things that, sort of society is grabbing at us.
Mm-hmm.
And this connected world we live in, it's hard to just sort of decompress
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
have a little bit of like presence when you're outdoors. And so if you can figure out ways to do that, and I won't say cram it in, but in a sense, really, it's just sort of like figuring out, okay, I've got 4 hours. How can I just go and be
Mm-hmm.
and experience something really cool? And, for the Instagram addicts, take some really great photos, but just be there
Yeah.
and do
Yeah.
something that's in nature that is not, your work or sort of the day-to-day life.
Yeah. So what is your projections on how long this trend is going to last? Because I think we're in, feels to me we're in the first couple innings of it, but I have no perspective on, is it a 9 inning game? Is it an extra inning game? What's the future look like?
I think we're in this for the long haul. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
to me, and what's interesting for us is that we're seeing this happening both in the outdoor industry and the RV industry,
Mm-hmm.
where people are looking for ways to have experiences, um, and do that with community, do that with family, and figure out ways to do that, less expensively,
Mm-hmm.
and more quickly, be more spontaneous about that sort of thing. And so we've seen the growth of the van life movement really is around convenience and comfort. Um, Certainly, there's the extreme cases of that where people are living in the road full time.
Right.
But we've seen on the RV side a really growth in the teardrop trailer market, where you've got
Mm-hmm.
a really nice bed and a camp kitchen, maybe an air conditioner, portable shower, and so that you can take your family, behind your SUV and be able to go off the grid.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you look at the shifting demographics in the automotive industry, people are not buying cars anymore. They're buying SUVs and
Right.
light trucks, and those vehicles are designed to do exactly what we're talking about, which
Right.
is, you know, get get off the grid a little bit faster and quicker and with more gear, so that you have that ability to be comfortable and do the things you like doing.
Yeah. Yeah. And comfort is key. I think people are, a lot of folks don't want to sleep on the, I'm too old to sleep on the ground anymore. I'm done with that. I still do it, but it'd be much better if I had a teardrop trailer with a bed in the back of it. And where's
So I
it?
have a little Tacoma, and
Oh,
we've
yeah.
got
Yeah.
a rooftop tent that I put on the back of the tonneau cover.
Uh-huh.
And I took my wife and my son, and we went out to the Cape. And he's only 20 months old, and
Oh,
so it
wow.
was his first sleepover in a rooftop tent, and
Oh,
he thought it
man.
was the coolest thing ever.
I'll bet.
And my wife's like, she runs marathons. She's an incredible athlete, but not necessarily like an outdoor camping enthusiast. I got her
Mm-hmm.
to sleep in a ground tent one time, and she was like, "Yeah, we're not doing this again." But the rooftop tent with the nice pad
Yeah.
and the blanket set up, and not being afraid of animals on the ground, she goes, "This is cool.
Yeah.
I like this." And
Yeah.
for my son, he loved it,
Yeah.
and we had enough space where we were all comfortable, and it was quick and easy to do. And so for that, I think, rooftop tent, certainly there's a price barrier there, or
Mm-hmm.
there's maybe an extreme scenario. You can certainly do that same camping in the back of an SUV, or
Yeah. Yeah. I do it in the back of Subaru. Yeah. And what do you
provides
think?
that advent of access for getting people that might otherwise not have gone outdoors and done some tent camping to do so in that comfortable way.
Yeah. Right. What do you think about the overlanding segment of the market? That seems to be growing too, and is crossing over more and more to traditional outdoor.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I feel like overlanding. So what's so interesting about overlanding is that it's been around forever.
Yeah.
I mean, you can trace back the origins of overlanding to the British military taking, the vintage Land Rovers across the continent over into Africa and the Middle East. I mean,
Right.
that's sort of like those guys were the originals.
Right.
Um, for us, we trace our heritage back to Australia.
Mm.
And so Dometic acquired a company called Waco, which was the largest manufacturer of these 12-volt portable fridge freezers. And in Australia, ice is not readily available. And you drive an hour outside of any major city, and you're in the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so this product becomes a really
And
sort of
hotter than hell.
life-saving,
Yeah.
critical thing. It's
Yeah.
a necessity part of gear rather than maybe a nice to have.
Right.
Um, and so overlanding's huge in Australia, and now we're starting to see that trend really appear in the U.S., where I think it hits on a lot of things that we've been talking about, which is you've got one vehicle that can be your daily driver, or can basically take you over the Rubicon.
Mm-hmm.
It looks cool. It's tricked out. I think there's a passion aspect behind it of really being gear centric, and
Yeah, it's another one
like
of the,
golf,
yeah.
it's never perfected.
Yeah, we all us outdoor folks, whether you're an overlander or a rock climber, it's as much about the gear as it is the activity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's no shortage of gear that overlanding can bring to your vehicle.
Right, right. So you think that segment's going to stay pretty popular, continue to grow?
Yeah, I think it's going to morph. I mean, what we sort of consider, sort of the overland market, where you're self-sufficient in your vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's certainly, it continues to grow, but I think the influence of overlanding is going to affect the broader population, where you've got more of this, vehicle adventurer,
Yeah.
and that is a much larger sort of population, given um, lower cost barrier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Having an SUV that's stock, where you can go sort of do that thing, but not necessarily have to have it lifted with a new suspension kit and big tires.
Right. Right.
So I think the influence of overlanding is going to continue and grow this sort of outdoor segment, where you're using your vehicle as the jump off point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of the natural evolution of the old family station wagon, where people used to pack their red ice, Coleman ice chest in the back and sleeping bags and some roll up tent, and they'd go on a camping trip. It wasn't overlanding, but they'd go camping for a week and spend the nights in campgrounds, and mom and dad would be in the tent and the kids would be in the car. And now it's just a more, focused gear for that, plus more rugged adventures. Overlanding obviously gets into more rugged territory, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's shift gears a little bit. What outdoor activities do you participate in?
So my passions are surfing and cycling.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Growing up in Rhode Island, I've been very fortunate to be around sort of the sailing community. So I grew up racing.
Oh,
So
cool.
anything offshore,
Mm-hmm.
there's an open spot on a boat, I'm gonna hop right on.
Right on.
And then recently, I got married a couple years ago. Have a 20-month-old son, as I mentioned, but my wife's actually pregnant with our second son, and so
Yeah.
I shifted gears since I've had kids a little bit to more doing running with my Thule chariot.
Right on. And do any day, right? Do next week or something, you said?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Monday actually.
Right on. Wow,
Baby number
congratulations.
2. Yeah,
Exciting.
thank you. We're so excited.
Very fun. Cool. And how about some of the mentors that have helped you along the way? Who are some of those folks?
Yeah, so I think for me, I can specifically call out two that really sort of shaped my career. So um, the woman I worked for at Thule, Megan Morrissey, really sort of taught me. I cut my chops in marketing working under her. She had a career in the alcohol industry, actually,
Hmm.
and I think you have to really hone in on what drives consumer behavior and consumer interest. And she taught me a lot about how to be pragmatic in marketing. I tend to wander and have a very exploratory mind, and I'm like a squirrel, shiny object. Everything's something new and something exciting, and I get really passionate about things very quickly. And it's important when you're in business to sort of be pragmatic and set a game plan and stick to it. And
Mm-hmm.
Megan really helped me structure my creativity in a way that allowed me to be focused and deliver really an ROI on the ideas and concepts that as a group we'd come up with.
Yeah, cool.
And then there was another guy at Thule, Trip Wyckoff, who was the VP of Sales and Marketing there. And for me, what was interesting about him is he sort of set the benchmark for someone who was very successful in life, but was incredibly passionate about the industry that he was in, and really walked the walk, or walked the talk rather. And so it was interesting as sort of a role model of seeing someone, okay, you can be successful in the outdoor industry and continue to do all the things that you're passionate about in life, and ride your bike at lunch, and go on surf trips, and bring your kids fishing, and do all of these sort of incredible things that we've got access to. And still, have this sort of incredible life and incredible job.
That's the beauty of it. I think you can blend the lifestyle with the work style, and it's perfect.
It wasn't anything I ever knew about when I think back on high school and college, and I feel like the outdoor industry it's this hidden gem, and people think about careers, and to think that I could have developed a career, selling products and designing products for customers to have an awesome time outdoors.
Right.
It's like it's a dream come true that I didn't know was possible. Growing up.
It's like being a 3-year-old designing toys.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
My friends, I tell them about my job, and they're like, "Wait, what?"
Exactly. Yeah. Mine do the same thing. You're still doing that? So along those lines, do you have any suggestions or advice for folks wanting to get into the outdoor biz or grow their career if they're already in the industry?
Yeah, I mean, I think the key in the outdoor industry is it is an incredibly friendly community, and I think being a little bit bold, and reaching out to people and asking for connections and advice, to me is really, I think, the easiest, quickest, and most resourceful way of sort of establishing some of that tribal knowledge, because you see it's a little bit insular in that people shift from one company in the outdoor industry to the other. If you're in the tent category, there's a dozen tent companies that you can go to, and people tend to spend their careers in the outdoor industry. One, I think because they're passionate about it, but two, there's just lots of opportunities for growth. And so, I would say for people that are interested in it, certainly taking advantage of internship opportunities. It's something that we're actually working on at Dometic, is developing something that allows college students to get more involved in our business and get sort of opportunities for awareness. But really, I would say, going on LinkedIn and finding people who are in this industry and saying, "Hey, what can I do? Are there opportunities that I can see for help?" And obviously, there's that sort of tech rep path where you get in at an entry level and sort of work your way in. But for those that don't have those immediate connections, I would say everyone that I know in the outdoor industry would be willing to, at least spend 10 minutes offering you some advice, and just not being afraid to reach out.
Yeah, that's good advice. Yeah, we're very welcoming to everybody and anybody. Yeah. Do you have any daily routines you use to keep your sanity? You exercise, walk the dog, walk the kids?
Yeah, for me, it's taking my kid for a walk around the neighborhood.
Nice.
He likes to wake up at 5:30.
Wow.
With a pregnant wife, I try and get him out of the house as much as possible. So I throw him in the stroller, and we walk up and down the hills, and gives me time to spend with him. Right. And like yesterday morning, we saw the bunnies are out in abundance in the neighborhood, and he gets excited about that. But cool. I also get a quick little burn in before the day starts, which is good.
Yeah, well, you're gonna double your fun here in a week.
Exactly. I know that I need to get the new double version.
That's right.
I can bring both of them around.
That's right. Do you have any favorite books or books you give as gifts?
I think for me, there are a couple that I'm reading right now. Scrum is one that we're looking at by Jeff Sutherland. That's one that we're reading and looking at as our product development organization, and just sort of finding more efficient ways to sprint rather than marathon.
Yep. When it That's comes a great tool. Yep.
And then sort of on my nightstand is I like sort of historic fiction. So I'm reading this book called Fingal right now, which is about Vikings and the time when the world was unexplored.
Huh. How do you spell that?
Just sort of Fingal. It's Fingall.
Oh, okay.
It's about when the Vikings and the Danes invaded Ireland and Scotland.
Wow, very cool. I'll have to check that. We'll link to those in the show notes. That sounds interesting.
Awesome.
Yeah. And how about your favorite piece of outdoor gear under $100?
My favorite piece of outdoor gear. I hate to sort of plug former companies, but
No,
probably my
that's
favorite or most used one is just going to be a surf pad, Thule surf pad. It always works. It's not complicated. You throw it on, protects your board, and
perfect.
I think that's probably my fastest go-to gear
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome.
is the one that's always on my roof racks.
A lot of times it's always something that's the most simple and functional, right? It's just so handy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As we wrap up here, is there anything else you'd like to say to our listeners or ask of our listeners?
I think in general, for me, it's really around thinking back in terms of how we get people into the industry, the energy and excitement that you and I were talking around OR. There's a growing sort of passion that is, I feel like, the U.S. market is really sort of honing into right now.
Mm-hmm.
And in general, I would just advocate that people disconnect, get outside, follow REI's lead
Mm-hmm.
on your opt out side.
Mm-hmm.
It's there's a great big beautiful world out there, and there's lots of amazing experiences to be had if people just put their phones down and go out and explore.
Yep, well said. Go do it. And where can people find you if they want to follow up? LinkedIn?
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn at adam.donahue.
Okay.
And then email is adam.donahue@dometic.com.
All right, cool. We'll put that in the show notes too. Well, it's been
Great.
great catching up. Or will you guys be at Winter OR?
We're not at Winter, no,
Okay.
just Summer OR.
Yeah.
We'll be at the SEMA show, so we also do a little crossover into automotive aftermarket as well.
Oh, cool. Well, I look forward to catching up at the next summer show.
Absolutely, Rick. Thank you so much.
If you find yourself in Bishop, give a holler.
Will do. I'll have to make a trip out there.
Yeah, you got to bring your family out here. It's beautiful.
All right, Rick.
All right, cool.
Thanks so much.
All right, yeah.
Have a great day.
Yeah, bye-bye. If you want more of the Outdoor Biz Podcast, you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to go to the outdoorbizpodcast.com where you find all the episodes, show notes, and much, much more. Until next time, be sure to make time to get outside.